This game was in Los Angeles last night, right? Yeah, why? Preds aren't home again until Tuesday. Because the Kings organist was playing Rocky Top near the end of the first period. Some weird attempt to troll us? Whatever it was, it didn't work. And I don't want to ever see crazy Kyle pull the same stunt inside Bridgestone Arena playing the Trojans fight song, or else I will unfollow him on Twitter permanently. Everybody's hands go up, way up, as the Nashville Predators defeat the Los Angeles Kings in Los Angeles, California, Thursday night by a score of 4-2. The scoring was spread out. First, two of your top stars, along with depth scoring, along with great goaltending as always by number 74, won you this game. It would be nicer if the players and the fan base didn't have to clench their butts in the last handful of minutes in the third period every time as they try to run out the clock to play a full 60 minutes. But hey, a win is a win, and it gets us one step closer to clinching a playoff spot again when none of the experts thought we would. To start, it was an adventure again to try and watch this game on center ice last night. First, the feed that was showing the Preds Kings game comes out of blackout and shows a fishing show on what says is Bally Sports South. And I'm like, okay, I tried to make other arrangements to try and watch this, but then all of a sudden it switches to the Kings feed, and I'm like, okay, I'll tolerate that because I get to watch the game. And then it goes to commercial, and then it comes out of commercial and it's the Preds feed. It's like, okay, why couldn't you have just done that in the first place? Anyways, to the game. This is the Preds' first visit to recently renamed Crypto.com Arena. Heck, I can still remember when the Preds were playing games in Los Angeles in the Great Western Forum. Quick historical fact, the Preds are 2-0 all time before the Kings moved to the Staples Center. Slow start to start the first period. About 3 minutes in, Alexander Carrier solo drives in towards Jonathan Quick, who would be in net for the Kings in this game. And though he couldn't get the puck past him or set up a good scoring chance, he does draw a holding call on Anze Kopitar. On the ensuing power play, just under 4 minutes into the first period, a desperate Roman Josi with pressure on him gets the puck over to number 9, Phil Forsberg, who quickly snaps a shot past Jonathan Quick. It's in the net. 1-0 Preds. You know, coming into this season with this benchmark ahead of him, I thought it would be really cool if Forsberg broke Leguan's goal record on Rene's retirement night. But at the pace that Philip Forsberg is on, he might set that mark before the start of February. Yes, I said February because this is a special season for him, so I'm not referring to it as the month that we normally call it. For those of you who want the latest update on Forsberg's chase of Leguan, he is now 14 back of tying him and 15 back of taking sole possession of number 1 in Preds goal scoring. About 5.5 minutes in, Alexander Carrier would take a holding call on Martin Frick. Don't expect me to know how to say that unless he played for the Preds with a guy's last name who has no vowels in it. But anyways, the Preds go on the penalty kill, and their red-hot penalty kill is put to the test again. And if not for their number 1 penalty killer, Juuse Saros, maybe it would get snapped there, but the Preds successfully kill off that first penalty. We reached the latter quarter of the first period. The pace has slowed down quite a bit. The Kings are out shooting the Preds, but there's not any damage being done from it. With about a minute and change left to go in the first period, the play is in the Preds zone, and Kempe for the Kings is a little too aggressive with the puck as he's carrying it and gets in towards the Preds net on Saros, and he takes a goalie interference on number 74, much to the chagrin of him, his coach Todd McClellan, and the Kings fan base. So the Preds have a chance to extend their lead before the intermission, and about 30 seconds later, Roman Josi carries the puck into the Kings zone and he leaves it for Philip Forsberg. And instead of Forsberg taking a shot trying to get closer to Leguan, Forsberg finds a man who hasn't scored in a while, who is due for a goal after his hot start this season. He gets it over to Matt Duchene, who drives in towards the Kings net, down low, and beats Quick 2-0 Preds on Duchesne's 14th of the season. Preds lead by that much after the first period. In the second, just because the Preds are being outshot doesn't mean they're not working, and they don't quit. Just under 3 minutes into that second period, Michael McCarron carries the puck into the Kings zone, and he has the puck to Quicks right. He backhands it over to Matt Love, who lives by the motto, if at first you don't succeed, try again, because he gets a shot off, it doesn't go in, he's there for the rebound, taps it home, past Jonathan Quick, 3-0 Preds. Just over 5 minutes into the second period, Kempe for the Kings gets a clean-cut breakaway with Alexander Carrier with the first of a couple of boneheaded mistakes that he made in this game, as Carrier interferes with Kempe's attempt on the breakaway, and Kempe gets awarded with a penalty shot. Kempe gets close enough to Saros on a penalty shot, tries to go forehand. Saros stayed right with him, keeping the score 3-0. Preds with an excellent chance to make it 4-0 about 6 minutes into the second period, but Matt Benning is robbed by Jonathan Quick's glove. Just about the 9-minute mark of the second period, this is Carrier's second mistake, as he tries to get a little too fancy in the Kings zone, fans on the puck, allowing Dustin Brown to go unscathed down the other way into the Preds zone with the puck. He dekes out Saros. This time a Kings player scores on a breakaway on Saros, cutting the Preds lead down to 3-1. This is where it gets fun. About 12 minutes into the second period, the puck is in the Preds crease in front of Saros, and he appears to have it covered to some people and the refs who blow the whistle, and Brendan Lemieux is digging away at the loose puck, trying to reduce the Preds lead and get his Kings back in the game. And Mark Borieski doesn't take too kindly to that effort, and on behalf of his teammates, him and Lemieux start to exchange some words and some fisticuffs. They didn't get a fighting penalty each, but Borieski got a roughing call and Lemieux got a slashing call on Borieski. And here you've got Lemieux in the penalty box for the Kings like a baby gaga goo goo. He should have been the only one who got the penalty. Why are you picking on me? Brendan, nobody who's not a Kings fan likes you, buddy. Just under 4 minutes left to go in the second period as we fast forward. Borieski has finally had enough of Lemieux's bleep, and those two finally have a fight. And it's not really a fight, as they two just stand over each other with their arms around each other, not really able to get a punch off, as the refs are waiting, and they finally break them up. But they each get a fighting major, and they both go to their respective locker rooms. About 2.5 minutes left to go in that middle frame, and there's a skirmish in front of the Kings net, and it's Ryan Johansson and Victor Arvidsson. And I'm sure the refs, when they were breaking it up, is like, you guys do realize you used to be teammates, right? So it's like, you do have some civility to you, right? Nope, that's long gone now. Much to the anger of Preds Nation, along with the Preds on the roster and coaching staff, Johansson's the only one who gets a penalty out of it. Fortunately, the Preds would kill off that penalty, but right before the final horn that would signify the end of the second period, Johansson would get another penalty, which would allow the Kings, with a fresh set of ice, to try and reduce the Preds' lead heading into the third period. Kings do create the majority of the chances in the early parts of that third period with that Johansson penalty, but aren't able to score, even though it did include one time where the refs probably blew the whistle too soon when Saros didn't have the puck fully covered. But alas, the Preds killed off and Johansson returned to the ice. Just about 5 minutes into the final frame, the Kings appear to be coming in waves, generating more chances, as you would see by the end of this one how badly the Kings would outshoot the Preds. But Saros is not letting them have any part of his net so far. After the Preds aren't able to convert on a power play of their own, which would have made them 3 for 3 on a night, sneaky Kings, when Ellie Tovanen would get called for hooking Sean Deruzzi, even though if you look at it, if the refs had looked closer, they would have seen that Deruzzi was holding Tovanen's stick. Alas, the Kings get away with one there, and the Preds' red-hot penalty kill that going into that power play had killed off 30 of the last 31 penalties against them can only hold off their opponents so long, and it's Frick or Frk, FRK, however you say that guy's name on the Kings, who scores and reduces the Preds' lead down to 3-2. With about 7 minutes left, Preds clinging to this 3-2 lead. You got Ellie Tobinen with a key block on Kings defenseman Drew Doughty, as Tobinen would receive a well-deserved pat on the back by Preds assistant coach Dan Heinut when he returned to the bench. We reached the last quarter of the third period, Preds still leading 3-2. You got Lemieux with a great chance to score on Saros, but Saros deflects that away. Pressure is in the Preds zone as the Kings are desperate to tie it. But finally, Tanner Jeannot takes the puck out of his own zone. He's got his line mate Yakov Trenin with him, as you've got Anze Kopitar for the Kings trying to get the puck back, turn it over, and get his Kings back on the offensive into the Preds zone. But he can't do that. Tanner Jeannot ultimately gets behind the empty Kings net, gets the puck out to Yakov Trenin, who buries it into that empty cage, giving the Preds a 4-2 lead. But this game is not done, because that empty net goal was scored with just a bit over a minute left to go in regulation. So the Kings get control of the puck, they pull quick again, and get a few more chances, but ultimately can't buy another goal past Saros. The Preds win 4-2. UC Saros, in as many nights after the Vegas game, makes 46 saves in the victory. Sometimes you have to be lucky to be good to show everyone that you're good to be lucky, and the Preds are doing just that. In 3 straight wins, they've been outshot in all 3 victories. It's not the most saves recorded in a Preds victory, but UC Saros came awfully close to setting a franchise record with his performance in this victory. Safe to say, UC Saros gets the night off. He better get the night off in Arizona on Saturday before most likely returning to the Pipes Tuesday night back in Bridgestone when arch rival in the division Colorado Avalanche come to town. Special teams tonight for the Preds. Decent, not perfect, as the red-hot power play, especially on the road, went 2 for 3, and their penalty kill, yeah, they couldn't kill off all 4, but they were still a respectable 3 for 4 considering it was a road game. Now, guys, don't screw up this win streak by taking an L on Saturday night. Arizona is trying to tank. Let them. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. As always, click like if you liked this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. You can find my social media by clicking on a channel name. Tell all your friends about Redemption. And methinks, if he hasn't already, David Legwan should prepare that congratulations video for when Philip Forsberg breaks his record.